I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. We were going to do a Worst of the Week. We were going to talk about Teen Titans Academy #2, but I already reviewed the first one, and this story is just as bad, and it's a lot of the same criticisms. I didn't want to waste Pele's precious time. Yeah. He's only got time for the channel so often, so I wanted to see if I could find something a little bit more interesting to talk about. So here with me, obviously, is the curmudgeon of critical himself. Pele, how you doing?
Fine. Yeah, you made me read this fucking shitty, piss-poor comic, and now I gotta fucking talk about something different. This is just bullshit.
I'm trying to ruin your day. That's what I'm doing.
God almighty. What the fuck with that comic? It makes no sense. None of the fucking comic makes any goddamn sense.
I think they're banking on that Red X mystery to be a little bit more interesting than it is, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about some of the creators that you see out there. A lot of times on social media, it's a lot of whining and bitching, and you can tell a lot of these creators, specifically we'll be talking about Kelly Sue DeConnick and Jimmy Paper Films Palmiotti. They can't stop pissing and moaning about their station in life, that they're not getting enough credit for the comic stories they've written. And I'm finding it very, very tiresome, Pele. How about you?
Oh yeah. Hearing the comic pros, I'm air quoting their bitch on Twitter, is like a daily occurrence. And it's they're bitching about credit, but the reality is they're bitching that they're not getting as much money as they want. They're not getting as much praise as they want. They want people to, they want to bend over, people to bend over and kiss their asses, and they want their pockets to just have hundreds of dollar bills just pouring out of them, and they don't fucking sell enough comics for that shit. The comics are selling poorly. The companies are just barely above fucking water, and these people want fucking praise. They want praise for trashing the comic book industry and destroying it. Oh, that's wonderful. Great.
So at first I kind of felt bad for Jimmy Palmiotti. He's had that hashtag he tried to make happen. It didn't exactly happen. He kept tagging like people that were starring in comic book movies, and it never really went anywhere. But it's like, if you look at Palmiotti, he seems to be very upset that he's not getting credit. And it's like, if you want credit for the stories that you're writing and for the creativity that you've brought to the medium, you're going to need to go out there and you're going to need to go make great stories with your own characters, because the majority of what Palmiotti is known for is with other people's creations.
Right. He's not the creative genius that he thinks he is. He's a reworker. He's not a creator. He's a reworker, and he wants the full credit of a Neil Gaiman or a Frank Miller or somebody like that when he's
Mark Miller, Robert Kirkman. These guys have gone out, they're well acclaimed, they made a lot of money, but they've made it on their own properties and the stuff they've created. Robert Kirkman, had a big selling title, with I believe he's the one that did Marvel, like Zombies or whatever. Yeah, he made his money off of The Walking Dead and now Invincible.
Yeah. I mean, those are great properties, and they're properties that sold well. They're properties that continue to sell well. They were dynamic. They were very rich, full worlds that had all this content available in them. And what's Palmiotti done? As Doc is. Yeah.
That movie sucked.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
shit.
want to be associated.
Nobody wanted to be associated with that. It was horrible. It was god-awful. And, it didn't sell. Like Doc says, he doesn't put butts in seats. You don't put butts in seats, you don't get credit, and you don't get money. It's this reality. That's the way it works. It's like the women's soccer team. It's like, they want more money than the men, or as much money as the men, and they fill like a tenth of the seats. It doesn't work that way. It's bullshit.
Well, there was some collective bargaining where they had the exact same deal that the men had offered to them, and they declined it. But that's neither here nor there. We're not going to get into that deal. They declined it because they didn't want to take risks, which perfectly falls into this.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Kirkman could have kept writing and just creating for Marvel and doing a little bit of stuff on the side.
Exactly.
He didn't like the environment at Marvel. He didn't think that he was getting the support and opportunities that he wanted. And he said, screw this. I'm going to take the risk of not taking these guaranteed paychecks and not getting the opportunities that I think I deserve. I'm going to go over to Image. I'm going to do my own thing.
Yep.
He took a lot of risk. He didn't have those guaranteed paychecks like he would have had with Marvel or DC. He goes over to Image, and now he's one of the executives there. He's given a blueprint. If you're willing to take the risk on yourself that you are the creative mind that can create properties that translate to movies, streaming, and other mediums, you got to go out there and you got to create your own stuff.
Yeah.
Jimmy Palmiotti, when has he taken that risk?
Never.
When did he say, you know what, I don't want any of the Marvel work. I don't want the DC work. Let me go and bet on myself and put it out there and see if I can make the next, Walking Dead.
Yep. I mean, look at even Todd McFarlane. Jim Lee. These people, they put their balls out there. They went out on a limb. I mean, okay, they had incredible talent, and they struck when the iron was hot, and they did extremely well for themselves. But it was there's the risk involved. You have to be able to take risks. If you don't take risks, you don't gain rewards. And these people want rewards for playing it safe, and it doesn't work that way. It's like the people that were rewarded were buying Bitcoin at $20, $40. There aren't people that are buying Bitcoin at 40, 50,000. It's not a risk now. It's not a big risk. It's a safe bet. And, sometimes you get your ass handed to you. I've lost more money than God knows what, but I plugged away and I beat my head into the wall, and I worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I retired at 41. Does everybody get to do that? No. But you got to put your balls out there. You've got to make an effort. You've got to put some skin in the game. And these people don't, and they don't understand what that is. And, I have sympathy. Because I know a lot of these people that are in the industry put a lot of time. And they think that time equals notoriety. And to a degree, it can. If you consistently put out good quality product with the big two, and you do that for decade upon decade, yes, that will work. John Byrne. You've got, he had some stuff with Next Gen.
John Byrne doesn't have Mark Miller money.
But
he doesn't have Frank Miller money. Because Frank Miller and Mark Miller, they started out at the big two. They made their name. They made some classic stories, things people now know. And they said, you know what? I'm the brains behind this. I'm going to go take the chance. I'm going to go write 300. I'm going to go write Jupiter's Legacy and all the stuff that Mark Miller is going. And they are reaping the rewards of their own creativity and betting on themselves.
Yep, exactly right. And if you don't take that bet out on yourself and you don't put yourself out there where you could risk getting hurt, you're not going to be rewarded in the same way.
Yeah,
and
Mark Miller didn't get the Miller World deal for what he did on Ultimates.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe that's how he built his reputation. He got the Miller World deal from his own creator-owned stuff. And the fact and the faith that Netflix has in him that he's going to continue to be able to create winning properties that translate to their streaming service, and their customers are going to enjoy it.
Now, if Palmiotti wants to go out there and create on his own dime, and go out there and put his own shingle out and say, I'm going to do this, even with Image or somebody like that, where it's a creator-owned property and they're the publisher, he wants to do something like that, and he sells something that sells 50, 60, 100,000 books, a month, and he's going on his own steam into this. By God, I wish him the best, and I hope that he does it. I hope that he does it so that he can have that success, but he's not going to get that when he's playing safe and he's with the big two underneath their umbrella where he can't get rained on. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it fucking works.
Yeah, he feels like sour grapes. Another one out there is Kelly Sue DeConnick. Miss, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books.
So
Well,
we didn't.
congratulations. You put it out there. People stop buying your books. Now, she did take a risk, Pele. I believe
Yeah.
her and her husband, Mr. DeConnick, they took their wares to Hollywood. They decided they were bigger than the comic book industry because she wrote Bitch Planet. They were going to Hollywood. They're going to be screenwriters and stuff. Well, they ain't in Hollywood anymore because apparently they couldn't cut it. They come back to comics, and you can tell there's not one place in this world that Kelly Sue DeConnick would not rather be than in comics, writing stories, and having to entertain the customers that supposedly, she built her career on.
Yeah, and she shit on the customers, and then she walked away with her finger in the air saying, "Hey, motherfuckers, I don't need you anymore." And then she came back, "Oh, well, I guess I do need this." And ever since then, she's had this hangdog expression, and she's been bitching and moaning on Twitter every single day, and it's just like, she hasn't revealed that she has that talent, that has that drive. And it's not because of the fact that she's a woman. It has everything to do with the fact that she just hasn't had an idea that sells. And I'm sorry, a lot of people have a lot of failure before they have that big success. And, going back to John Byrne, who remembers Next Men? Do you remember Next Men? It was, I think Hellboy made a first appearance in it. Mike Mignola came and tried to help him out. But John Byrne didn't have the success there, and he never really quite got off the ground outside of the big two, but he has more talent. But the thing is, though, even he hasn't had that success, and he has more talent in his little finger than she has in her entire body.
There's been 3 movies. He's probably made some money. Those are his creations. But you look at Kelly Sue DeConnick. What's the one thing she's created outside the big two that people are aware of? Bitch Planet.
Bitch Planet, yeah. That's it.
Does that really translate to a wide audience like The Walking Dead? Hey, everybody knows what zombies are. Zombie survival. Anyone can relate to that. You look over at, Frank Miller.
Yep.
300, Sword and Sandals. Not as big an audience as you might imagine, but, it is a big audience that watch movies like that. Then you think about, Sin City.
Wow.
Crime noir. Everybody likes crime noir. She's making this weird niche little universe that, perhaps it could be a success on, I don't know, Vice or whatever small little channel out there with 100,000 viewers.
Yeah.
But it doesn't translate to a big audience.
No, it doesn't.
Stop making yourself niche.
Yep, that's exactly it. And, there's really no other way to put it. She's going to have to broaden her base. She's going to have to look at she's going to have to sit down and come up with an idea that appeals to many instead of, fishing for appeal from the Twitter mob. And they aren't people that have money. These are not people that have money. These are not people that are supporting customers. These are people that are activists. Activists do not spend money. There's not enough of them, and the ones that are there don't have the money. So she's going to have to broaden her base. She's going to have to look for a better idea to sell to appeal to many. So,
Listen,
I wish
back
her
in
luck.
the day, female empowerment, action movies led by females, they did pretty well. You got your Alien franchise, you got Terminator, you got a lot of those out there. Well, nowadays, they become niche themselves, and they just don't translate anymore. Look at Ghostbusters. Look at a lot of these remakes that they're doing. Even the Charlie's Angels, which has always been, kind of a girl power type franchise. Even that fell down because they can't get these properties to translate to a wide audience anymore because they're trying to get too much message ahead of the story. Well, guess where Bitch Planet falls in?
Same place.
It's in that niche. There's no audience for that stuff. If you want to make it big, you got to make something that's cool. And I imagine, Kelly Sue DeConnick's like, but I created Captain Marvel. The fuck you did. Carol Danvers was probably created when Kelly Sue DeConnick was a teenager. I imagine
long before she was popping zits. Yeah.
Captain Marvel's been around probably since she was a young lady. So those characters already existed. Those properties already existed. Yes, someone told you that you needed to make Carol Danvers the next Captain Marvel and you're going to be the writer. Not exactly your most creative moment. Someone
Yeah,
told you to
no.
do it. Congratulations. And of all the MCU movies, the most boring lead.
Yeah. Yeah, the one that if it hadn't been wedged between the two biggest movies in superhero cinema history, probably wouldn't have even made money. And it was it was not as it wasn't as bad as people were building it up to be.
It's average. It's okay.
It was, yeah, it was a slightly below average MCU movie, and bleh. And they pooped it out like it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. It wasn't. And Captain Marvel
But
is a
she didn't
bland
create Carol
character.
Danvers.
No,
She
she
didn't
didn't.
create Captain Marvel. Those you don't own any of that stuff, and it all belonged to Marvel anyway.
Yeah.
You needed to go make something like that translates outside of the big two, and then you can go bet on yourself, and maybe you can go cash in on it. These people, Frank Miller, Mark Miller, Robert Kirkman, the blueprint is there for success. If you want to translate or move outside the medium for your works to transcend comic books, go into streaming, TV, and movies. It's not to play it safe at the big two. Certainly not to go out there and denigrate fans and talk down to everybody and sit there and piss and moan about sour grapes. You never see that from Robert Kirkman. You don't see that from Mark Millar. You certainly don't see it from Frank Miller.
Yeah, you don't. Because, they have, well, there's a certain self-confidence that comes from your success.
When you know you're the shit, you can act like you know you're the shit.
Yeah, yeah. And when you don't have that to back it up, you just seem like a dickhead, an asshole. And people don't like assholes that don't have anything to back up their assholishness. You can be arrogant as long as you've got the clout to back it up. But if you don't, people just think you're a shit.
Yeah, I don't mind comic creators dreaming bigger. Hey, everyone should dream bigger. You should all want your stuff to get bigger and bigger so you can make as much money on the creations that you've made. But don't feel bad for yourself or complain about your lot in life for not making money off other people's creations. Sorry, you're sitting on the shoulders of giants.
Absolutely.
And that's what I got to say about that, Paley. I'm finding it annoying. Listen, we get it. You don't want to be writing comics. Write something so cool, obviously in the comic medium, that it translates outside of it, and you can go fuck off with your life. And then we don't have to listen to you anymore. But until then, you need to respect customers, do something that will translate, and bet on yourselves. And stop, you're going to have to wean yourself off the big two, teat, as they say. Haley, I'll let you have the last word. I know I ran a little bit, but
it's all right.
I think we got our point.
You're on point. Yeah, I mean it's nothing better. I like nothing better to see somebody succeed. I'd love to. I don't care what end of the political spectrum they're on. If they have a good idea and they come out with a great product, God, I want them to succeed. I want that success to mean success for others. I want it to sell in my comic shop. I want it to sell in places where I can see it. I want it to be a good quality product. I don't agree with these people in politics. A lot of the creators that I love the most, I don't agree with, but I love seeing their success. And what we see here is not success. What we see here is, a parasite, and they haven't learned how to live on their own, to be their own source for what they need and how and for success. But maybe one day they will. It's not right now, and God help them. I wish them the best.
If you think that you're going to make the next big, girl power franchise, I hate to break it to you. Everybody's trying to make that right now in Hollywood, and they aren't exactly turning out well because it's just not translating. Go and do something that translates to everybody, and maybe you can, put yourself in the Robert Kirkman, Mark Millar, Frank Miller of the world category, where you really transcended the medium and you made a shitload of money doing it.
Yeah.